grotesque, featherless heads, cloak-like plumage, and a wild, untamed appearance shrouded in darkness. These are the words that often define nature's most peculiar creation. The avian enigma that prowls the depths of sub-Saharan Africa is a creature born of nightmares. With legs like spindly reeds and the flight of a heron, it stalks its domain with a chilling visage that freezes the bravest of hearts. This supreme scavenger of the African savanna reigns as the epitome of ugliness, a grim sentinel of death and decay. Meet the soul-shivering firebird of nightmares, the marabou stork. The marabou stork, Leptoptelos crumenifer, is a giant wading bird belonging to the stork family Ciconidae that inhabits sub-Saharan Africa, including Senegal, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia, Namibia, South Africa, and Uganda, where it's often regarded as the unofficial national bird in the latter. The name marabou comes from an Arabic word that roughly means quiet or hermit-like. Maybe that's because of its unique characteristic of lacking a voice box. Despite this limitation, these birds communicate through the subtle clapping of their bills or the croaking emanating from their throat pouches. In contrast to typical stork behavior, marabou storks exhibit a curious palate, favoring scavenging over traditional hunting. They often shadow vultures, capitalizing on their adeptness at tearing through carrion. In a fascinating display of mercenary, marabou storks may patiently wait for a vulture's discard, boldly snatching meat from their avian counterparts, or just wait until the vultures are full and step in for the leftovers. But sometimes this exchange of food draws them into confrontations with vultures, where the marabou stork's size advantage allows them to relentlessly hassle the vultures. This is a fact that the marabou stork knows all too well, as it maneuvers to grab the vulture's slim neck with its beak several times, but it won't peck the vulture to death, of course, because it benefits from the vulture's offerings. Interestingly, as they tail the vultures, bees also come along with the storks, hoping that they'll pick apart dead animal carcasses. The bees then feast on the leftovers and then use the remains as shelter for their eggs. It's an animal arrangement called commensalism, and it's a really sweet deal for the bees. This large and mighty bird also eats leftovers, feces, and other various animal matter. To aid in scavenging, the bird has also evolved to lose feathers on its head and long neck over the years. That makes sense, as a feathered head or neck would quickly get messy with blood and other substances when the bird's head is inside of a large carcass, so a bare head is easier to keep clean. However, being a scavenger doesn't mean it's picky about its meals. These birds will eat anything, including a whole host of birds and other animals, such as fish, frogs, insects, eggs, small mammals, reptiles like crocodile hatchlings and their eggs, lizards, and snakes. In recent times, marabou storks have developed a growing reliance on human trash, with hundreds of these majestic birds flocking to African dumps or eagerly awaiting handouts in urban areas. They've become so common on the streets of Nairobi that they've replaced feral dogs in the city's ecosystem, gobbling up just about anything that they can swallow, including shoe bits and bits of metal. This is why these birds are often quite comfortable around humans, having adapted to feeding from human resources. However, they have been known to react aggressively when denied food or when someone interferes with them uninvited. Like this overconfident man, who barely escaped presenting his finger to the hungry marabou stork as a delectable appetizer. Finger food, anybody? The most intriguing part of a marabou stork's diet is how these colossal predators have mastered the art of utilizing forest fires to their advantage. While an ordinary bird would flee from a clearing engulfed in flames, these behemoth birds are drawn to it. Some birds just want to watch the world burn. No? Michael Caine? No? Okay, alright. Well, they fly ahead of the flames and swoop down to snatch up small animals fleeing from the inferno. Moreover, after the fire is cleared, a landscape devoid of grass and other small vegetation is the perfect spot to find small insects that usually hide under the cover of grasses. Although these peculiar creatures are known to consume seemingly inedible and putrid foods, they ironically sometimes wash their food to remove the dirt from it. Marabou storks have been unkindly dubbed the ugliest bird on the planet, and it is not hard to see why. Their peculiar shaped body proportions and bald, unpleasant appearance are further accentuated by their large, imposing bill, which measures from 10.4 to 13.8 inches. This massive bird can reach impressive heights, with fully grown adults standing at 5 feet tall and weighing in at 20 pounds, with males being larger than females. Additionally, their wingspan can stretch up to 13.3 feet, often claimed to be the widest of any land bird, rivaling that of the Andean condor. However, more commonly, these storks measure between 7 and 9 feet across wings, which is about a foot less than the average wingspan of the Andean condor, and nearly 2 feet less than the average of the largest albatrosses and pelicans. Like its fellow storks, this creature flies with its legs trailing behind its body closely, and its neck tucked in to form a flattened S, allowing the weight of its beak to rest on its shoulders. Their leg and toe bones are hollow, aiding in balancing their weight and taking off into flight. Additionally, they have a pink, puffy gular sac in their throat that can inflate and is utilized in courtship rituals, also serving as the pouch from which they croak. As a creature shrouded in mystery, marabou storks boast an equally peculiar temperature regulation system. To cool down during the scorching midday heat, they poop on their legs, protecting them from sunburns, which explains their white appearance. Similarly, when they need to warm up, they spread their wings, potentially increasing the surface area for sunlight exposure. Their signature white tail feathers, known as marabou down, are often incorporated into the trimmings of clothing and hats, as well as fishing lures. From behind, the back and wings of the marabou stork resemble a flowing black cloak, earning it the nickname undertaker bird for its ominous presence. Despite their eerie, gothic appearance, these storks are quite the social guys. They often flock together and huddle closely to roost at night. While they may seem like lazy bums, lounging in trees, this lifestyle helps them conserve energy for when they really need it, like during the upcoming breeding season when they'll be working overtime. They prefer to breed during the dry season when water levels are low, making the fish and birds easier to find and catch. During the breeding season, they gather in groups ranging from 20 pairs to several thousand. While a male marabou stakes out its territory, he puffs up his throat pouch to intimidate newcomers, and as a female enters his domain, they pair up and start building their nest. Marabou storks are known to mate for life and construct their nests in trees, on the tops of buildings, or on the sides of cliffs. They typically lay 2 to 3 eggs, and after about a month of both parents taking turns to incubate the eggs, young marabou hatchlings are covered in gray down and won't reach full maturity until about 4 years old. Young marabous are browner with smaller beaks. Marabou storks live approximately 25 years in the wild and a whopping 43 years in captivity. Despite their size and intimidating presence, they don't have many natural predators. However, large carnivores like lions and leopards might attempt to take on an adult, but that's not a significant concern for their population. Humans also hunt them for medical and commercial purposes, but their numbers are not at all alarming. With an estimated population of 100,000 to 300,000 individuals thriving across sub-Saharan Africa, marabou storks are classified as least concern on the IUCN Red List, and their numbers are on the rise today. While they might not win a beauty contest, they're definitely the real big birds in town. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.